Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review DC Year of the Villain. This is the 25-cent one-shot to try to an attempt by DC to try to get people excited for the next year in terms of what they got planned for the DC universe. And I gotta admit, I'm a little bit curious. I had some trepidation about the whole notion of, once again, putting villains at the forefront. I'm the type of guy that I'm always more interested in learning more about the heroes, not the villains. And I know I don't necessarily agree with this notion that a hero is more interesting depending on how interesting their villains are. I don't agree with that. To me, that's just cop-out writing. If the character is interesting, they should be interesting regardless of who their villains are. And I think I generally thought initially that perhaps the Year of Villain was a little bit of a cop-out. I still think that a little bit, but I got some excitement here because there's three primary storylines. There's three primary storylines that are coming into play with DC Year of the Villain. There's the Batman Who Laughs machinations. There's the Legion of Doom machinations taking place in Justice League. And, of course, there's the Leviathan villain that's taking place in the pages of Superman and Action Comics. Now, what's occurring in the DC Universe and what's basically revealed here is this didn't reveal anything new to me. Now, it's interesting that some people are reading this and they seem to think that this reveals something. I don't find this reveals much at all, quite frankly. Well, that's not true. It does reveal something interesting, that the Batman Who Laughs is going to corrupt six individuals, six heroes in the DC Universe. That I didn't know. So it teases things and it provides future solicits. But in terms of the stories themselves don't reveal much more than what we already knew. The first story essentially deals with Amanda Waller. It reveals that, Amanda Waller wants to talk to the president because she wants to talk to the president about a royal flush, that this person called Leviathan, or this villain called Leviathan, and it could be a man or a woman, we don't know who Leviathan is wiping out all the intelligence agencies of Spiral, the DEO, Checkmate, Argus, and Task Force X/Suicide Squad. They're all being wiped out slowly by Leviathan. She wants to tell us to the president, but the president's been incapacitated by Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom because Luthor has a secret plan, and it's in conjunction with Perpetua. And that plan is Luthor is liquidating all his financial resources and essentially making the ultimate sacrifice of his own life in order to be reborn through the power of Perpetua. Perpetua is the being that, in fact, created our multiverse and was released when the Source Wall broke down in the pages of Justice League. When the Source Wall was destroyed, Perpetua was released along with those seven forces of creation, those seven negative forces of creation that were locked away with her. Those have been released as well. And Perpetua is going to be utilizing those forces to essentially, Lex Luthor is being reborn. And it's clearly teased that as Lex Luthor is being reborn, he utilizes his financial empire to power up various villains all across the DC universe. And so the Legion of Doom, the ranks of the Legion of Doom are potentially endless at this point. So the Justice League really has to step up to the plate, and that leads into another storyline here, and where it addresses directly what's going on in the Justice League, and namely that the Justice League is aware of what's going on. They're aware that they're going to have to increase their ranks because, and that's exactly what they intend to do, they're going to increase their ranks because they know that that something is up, that Luthor is utilizing the power of Doom, and they know that the Legion of Doom has Perpetua. They know that Perpetua is being awakened by the Legion of Doom, by Lex Luthor, by Brainiac, and so they know that they need to prepare. Meanwhile, the Batman Who Laughs has his own devious plans, and he picks 6 DC characters and he has them explore and embrace their darkest desires, their dark side. And the question is, which one of the 6 DC heroes is the Batman Who Laughs going to be corrupting? And they have candidates there. So 6 of these heroes are going to be chosen by the Batman Who Laughs and are going to be corrupted. And I got some predictions. I'm going to make a prediction right now that I'm going to choose the 6 that I think. I think it's going to be Green Arrow is going to be one of them. I think Changeling's going to be one. I think Miss Martian's going to be the 3rd one. I think Donna Troy's going to be the 4th. And I believe that I'm going to go with Booster Gold being the 5th. And I'm going to go with Kyle Rayner being the 6th. And I got my various reasons for that, but I think the most interesting reason is that I think for Green Arrow being Green Arrow's own series, Green Arrow doesn't really like the Justice League. He's always been somewhat of an outlier, so I think we need to see a darker side of Green Arrow. He's always been the social justice warrior. I want to see his darker side. I want to see the social justice warrior hero of Green Arrow get really dark and gritty, and to see where he takes that character. I also would like Miss Martian, I think, is an obvious choice. I might be wrong on that, but she's close to Martian Manhunter, John Jones, so let's get her corrupted. I think that'll create some drama for John Jones. Changeling is sort of is kind of a throwaway character, frankly. I always find him to be thoroughly uninteresting, so make him darker. I mean, make him more interesting, but making him darker, I think, is a good idea. Booster Gold has already been psychologically compromised because of his stay in Sanctuary. He barely survived. He managed to survive not being killed by Wally West, when Wally West freaked out in the pages of Heroes in Crisis. And so I think that Booster Gold, I think that experience is going to further degrade his mind, and he's going to, you might as well go full crazy, right? Booster Gold was already written very badly by Tom King. You might as well just make him dark. What the hell? Make Booster Gold dark. Imagine a darker time-traveling hero that is exploring his darker side. That is a massive threat, and I think that would be very interesting. Donna Troy, I want to see her corrupted, because the New 52 Donna Troy was actually a feminazi genocidal maniac who actually exterminated all the Manazons on Paradise Island, because many of you might not remember this, or you might not know this, but in the New 52 era of Wonder Woman, there was actually male Amazons that were invited by Wonder Woman to stay on the island. And Wonder Woman was the goddess of war. And Donna Troy came along, and she was essentially kind of a clone of, well, she was kind of a clone of, due to the machinations of a villain called Deranu, Donna Troy was essentially sort of a clone. She was created, and she basically became this feminazi that exterminated all the men on Paradise Island. And that memory was done away with when Rebirth came along. But now I think maybe some of that is going to come back to her, because in an alternate reality, in an alternate universe, I'm sure Donna Troy was a feminazi genocidal maniac, because she was precisely that in the New 52. And so I think it'll be interesting to explore that. Kyle Rayner's always been such a nice guy. Kyle Rayner has always been my favorite Green Lantern. Although Grant Morrison's Hal Jordan has given him some competition, I'm really enjoying. Check out Green Lantern #7 with Grant Morrison, guys, with the power ring, or Purgoware, the name of the power ring. Purgoware is the name of the power ring, is the power ring itself. Pretty cool stuff. Anyways, Kyle Rayner's, he's nice. He's always so nice. Let's see Kyle Rayner's darker side. He's been the White Lantern. He's been the nice guy. He's a former comic book artist in the actual continuity of the DC universe. Let's see him explore his darker side. I think we need to see that. And what else did I say? You know, Nightwing himself, seeing the dark side of Nightwing might be a good idea as well. But in any event, guys, tell me, there's some very interesting teases at future solicitations here. It's apparently Lex, the Invisible Mafia that's taking place in Action Comics, the Invisible Mafia with the Red Cloud and with the Leviathan playing a role in doing the Royal Flush, and the Invisible Mafia represented by the Red Cloud in Metropolis. They've never really been discovered before, and they've always eliminated all mafia-like competition. Well, Lex Luthor powers up the competition to the Invisible Mafia, so that's interesting. So they're going to get some competition there. And a couple of other things that I think are interesting is Lex Luthor's going to make an offer to Bane, and Bane is right now, of course, doing some machinations with respect to Batman. And of course, with Tom King's storyline, it's going to be interesting to see what he offers Bane and what Bane might consider to power himself up. Catwoman herself is basically saying, is going to be made an offer by Lex. Lex says to her, "Come now, Selena, still playing the hero? Stop pretending you're something you're not." It's Lex's words versus Catwoman's will. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. That's in Catwoman #13, coming out July 10th. So I'm interested in that one. Slade Wilson's son's Jericho accepts Lex's offer of power, but he tries to use it for good, which apparently makes Lex smile. That's curious. That's coming out July 3rd, Deathstroke #45. Detective Comics Very interesting developments going to take place in Detective Comics in issue 1008. Mr. Freeze's beloved wife Nora, finally, Lex gives him the cure so that Nora can be revived. Remember, the motivation that Mr. Freeze has, his sole motivation in his life is to revive his wife Nora, who he loves deeply, but who is cryogenically frozen because he wants to unfreeze her when he has the ability to cure her from the disease that she suffers from. Well, apparently Lex Luthor, with the power he gets from his rebirth and through the power of Doom, cures Nora. But Nora, there's something different about Nora when she's revived. There's always a price. There's always a price. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, what Peter Tomasi does with that. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to the Flash. When Lex makes Captain Cold an offer of power, the Captain wants something else, something for all the Flash's rogues. I'm just not interested in the Flash storyline. It's not well written by Joshua Williamson right now. Every issue just seems to get worse and worse. I'm not looking forward to Flash Year 1 at all. There's just nothing there. He doesn't seem to have a handle on the Flash. He doesn't seem to have a handle on the character of Barry Allen. He doesn't. He butchered the forces there, Sage Force, Strength Force. It's really a scattershot, very disappointing series. So I don't really care about the Flash. I still say the most interesting Flash is the one that recently killed himself. Wally West is more interesting as a dead Flash than Barry Allen has ever been alive. And I've maintained that forever, and I still maintain that with Flash under Williamson. Sorry. Hawkman, it's going to be, Lex Luthor makes an offer to the Shadows in the pages of Hawkman. I'm loving what Robert Venditti has been doing with Hawkman. This next week coming out is going to be Hawkman number 12, the final issue drawn by Brian Hitch, and the battle against the Deathbringers. We're definitely going to check that out. But knowing that this leads right into essentially the Lex Luthor making the offer in this Year of the Villain against the Shadows, who routinely battle Hawkman, I think that's really great. That's something to look forward to. Just in Justice League Dark, well, I'm going to skip over Justice League Dark. It looks as if Apex Lex is a monster now. So when Lex Luthor is born, he becomes more monster-like. That's interesting. There's all kind of hints here in terms of what's going on. The other thing, another disappointment to me is Wonder Woman. Lex approaches the Cheetah. In Wonder Woman 75, Lex Luthor approaches the Cheetah, offering a weapon powerful enough to destroy Wonder Woman once and for all. The fatal feline pounces on the opportunity. That's so derivative. That's so uninspired. Cheetah has always been doing that. It shouldn't even be the Cheetah. As far, I guess it should be the Cheetah, but man, it's just such... J. Willow Wilson is just missing the mark on Wonder Woman. It's just yet more contrived, uninspired direction for Wonder Woman. At least maybe with Batman we'll get some interesting tidbits here. Unfortunately, for Batman, it's still clear. I don't care what anybody says. I promise you, I guarantee you that Tom King is not going to. It's going to be just a mention. It's going to be a casual link to the Year of the Villain in the pages of Batman, with Bane, I'm sure, rejecting Lex's offer. It's going to have a small influence. But at least it's nice to see with the Batman Who Laughs, the Legion of Doom, and Leviathan, that all these connections there's still some connections there that make it work well. There's still significant titles that are directionless. I still think Batman needs more. I still think that Batman needs a more specific direction. Wonder Woman needs a direction. Flash needs a direction. The year one of the Flash, what a redundant mess. We don't need it. The last thing we need is yet another year one for Flash. We already had it with Flash Rebirth. Why do we need a year? Why do we need that? We don't need that again. We just don't need it. In any event, but I am excited about Year of the Villain. So I'm excited to where this is going. For the most part, I think the DC Universe is going to be an interesting year for the DC Universe. In terms of how things are going to work out in the wash, I'm not sure. My primary concern is specifically in regard to the pages of Superman and Action Comics. My primary concern is with Leviathan. It really seems that it's really written in a very boring manner. It really needs to pick up. Hopefully with the Leviathan, I think if there's a Leviathan Rising one-shot that'll be coming out, I think it's going to be priced at $9.99. I hope that really establishes some excitement to get things going, because right now it just seems it's more introspective and decompressed and expensive, because comic books are expensive, and having to buy all these titles here to figure out what's going on, I think it's a little bit disconcerting to me. But we'll see. I do remain positive. Guys, tell me what you think. You've read Year of the Villain. What are your favorite aspects of it? Tell me who you think the six people that are going to be corrupted by the Batman Who Laughs. I think that's interesting. Tell me what you think. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, Comic Boom out.